versus Edina. Eden Prairie trying to win the Lake Conference. If they win out, they would tie Hopkins for the Lake Conference title. Their lone loss in 6 matchups coming in, taking place against the Hopkins Royals Edina. Meanwhile, 1-6 in conference play. They've struggled a bit the last 2 years in a very deep and talented conference, going just 3-12, but boast a 16-8 overall record, and currently are just outside the top 16 in terms of QRF rankings. This is the final week of the regular season as Josh Lanasa, the tight end, tries to get it inside to Blake Cashman. It's poked away by co-captain Ben Boone, who takes the ball up over the far side. Passes the ball over to Will Morton, who's averaging double figures this season. He gets a swing pass over to the far side, just beyond the arc. He's picked up by the guarding of Nick Juliet. And they'll reset to Walt McGrory, the team's leading scorer. We are underway here from the Edina Community Center. We've covered a couple Edina Eden Prairie basketball games over the years as a steal is taken away. Nice read by Owen Chose. He's a sophomore and averages 6.7 points per game. He'll try to entry pass it into Lanasa. He's contacted, no whistle. Misses the high banking shot, and it's cleared by the Hornets. McGrory, handoff, exchange over to Burley. Goes back to McGrory. He's picked up by Blake Cashman. Also a dual sport athlete for the Eagles. Linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver. Very versatile talent for Eden Prairie. Had that 4th down touchdown catch in the state championship game. 4th and 19 as the jumper comes up short, skying for the rebound. Is Nick Juliet. Good outlet to Cashman. He finds an open shooter, but he can't handle the pass. Inside to Cashman. Contested, no. Goes up and is fouled.
This will be a big matchup with a lot of Section 6 implications on the way, Kevin. Of course, Hopkins, Eden Prairie kind of battling it out for that #1 seed in Section 6, but Edina in these last 2 games could see quite a bit of movement, I believe, from anywhere from the 3 to the 6 seed potentially, so 2 very important games for them.
Indeed, right now 2 and 4 in the section. Minnetonka, Robbinsdale, Armstrong not out of reach, just ahead of them. So again, a good showing here tonight. They also have an easier matchup, not having to face a Lake Conference opponent, as both free throws were made for Blake Cashman to make this game 2-0 in favor of the Eagles. That they could make some noise and possibly get a first-round home court advantage matchup. McGrory uses a high screen. Can't get around the defender. Good pickup by Eden Prairie. Now McGrory tries driving middle, pulls up, takes a shot, gets the soft roll, and Edina's on the scoreboard. Jacobus over the far side, a 5'10" junior. Uses a high screen, now slips past the defender. Pulling up and taking the jumper, Juliet. Can't get the jumper to roll. Faded away on that one. Beg your pardon, that was Owen Chose. He picks up the ball handler. His swing pass over to Ben Boone. His 3-pointer glances off the side of the rim. Looking to get out and run an open space. Cashman outlets it. But the Hornets back defensively. Good stand so far. We've seen a defensive battle as the jumper will be taken and drained, coming off the curl. Nice pick set by Lanasa in Juliet. Able to drain it. 4-2, 14:57 and counting, as we have contact and a foul against Blake Cashman. He applauded it like he thought the Hornets were called for the foul, but just one of those, type of reactions where you disagree with the call, so you just kind of clap about it.
Kind of saw there on the replay, Cashman clapping after it. Yeah, it's better than the alternative of screaming of some sort at the official.
Right, exactly. Nick Juliet over on the far side, showing Cashman. Now Brady Rudrud just checked into the ball game. He's a 6'3" junior, been playing JV and varsity throughout his high school career. Second year on the varsity squad. Blake Cashman, third year. He pulls up and airmails a shot from the right baseline. Boone there for the rebound. McGrory picked up by Chose. Now down low, Max Lynch. He's the younger brother of a Edina Hornet who set the school record for blocks. Reggie Lynch, now currently in his, what would that be, junior season, or sophomore season at the University of Southern Illinois, or Southern Illinois University, one of those. What do you call it?
I remember I liked his hairdo back when he played, I think his senior year when we covered him 2 years ago. Kind of had that afro going.
Yep.
Had a little more height on the stat sheet, right?
Exactly. Well, he ended up with a near triple-double in a game against JFK that we covered. Edina throttled Bloomington Kennedy. They had some high hopes going into that season and had at least 12 blocks, and I know double-figure points and maybe double figure rebounds. So
that would be like kind of a weird triple-double.
But cannot do so, then takes down the defender, Blake Cashman, with a hard fall to the court as that shot was misfired by Will Morton. He'll instead pick up his first personal foul, team third. Here about 4.5 minutes gone by in the first half as you're watching PSB Media's coverage of Eden Prairie Edina boys basketball. Thanks for joining us. Happy to bring you coverage brought to you by PSB Media as this long triple is buried. Good arcing shot by Nick Jewlett, and he's got a team high and game high 5. McGrory behind the back, fancy dribbling right there. Tries to set up the shot, and it's blocked. Out of bounds. Great play defensively by Colton Simmer to block the shot of John Swanke, who had just checked in. Both these teams have very deep benches, and I mean, you think about school enrollments, right? Both of them have higher enrollments compared to some Twin Cities schools. As McGrory able to keep the body extension with the right arm and finish with the left. Good drive there for the sophomore. He's got 4 points and now a 3-pointer hit. And Gillette now has 8 points, off to a very fast start. But as I was saying about both these teams' depth, they really, at least for David Flum and the Eagles, they go 11 deep. And for Edina, just about that, they can literally turn over their entire lineup.
Well, that's certainly going to make them dangerous in sections. When they're going to face some teams that maybe don't quite have the same depth as they do, but it'll be an interesting section tournament coming up next week.
Redroot able to hit that one. Nice ball fake, and then finding his way into the painted area. Little baby hook shot for the 6'3" junior. It's 12-8 Eden Prairie. Entry pass to Lynch, going high over Carter Coughlin. That's a mismatch in favor of the Hornets. And going to that right away, nice recognition there from McGrory. And Lynch goes to the charity stripe.
If you'd like to contact us during the broadcast, maybe tell us who you're cheering for, where you're watching from, feel free to email us, announcers@psbmn.com, announcers@psbmn.com. You don't have a very good memory, also just find that link right below your game tracker screen. Love to hear from you throughout the broadcast.
Indeed, Max Lynch, now a senior. His free throws both miss. And if you saw, David Flum wisely going to Josh Lanasa for that size to match up with Max Lynch. Lanasa 6'5". Had a couple touchdowns for the football team and 2 two-point conversions as that runner missed, but a good follow there by Colton Simmer. He's had a nice effort off the bench for the Eagles. 2 points and a block shot.
As you'll see here on the side-by-side replay, nice little move there to the hoop and a good job to grab that rebound for the second opportunity.
Rolling underneath. Lynch can't finish on the reverse. Now quickly working ahead, Vermidal tries to feed it inside to Lanasa, but Lanasa not ready for that short pass, and little zip applied by Jake Ruppert, beg your pardon. And it's a turnover, just the second of the game for the Eagles.
And you're talking about some of these football players who already are on the basketball court for both squads, and it's a really refreshing thing to see when, in this day and age, you see so many athletes specialize in just one sport. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of the old school style where you have guys playing 2-3 sports.
Indeed. Speaking of football, Lanasa with a quarterback-style pass up ahead to Rudrud, gets the shot away, and a holding foul called against the Hornets. John Burley. And will they say in the act of shooting, or is it going to be spot out of bounds? It'll be a inbounds pass. Still nice recognition and nice outlet. If you're a Minnesota fan, you got used to the great outlet passing of Kevin Love until he stunk his way out of here and cried his way out of Minnesota, but got to see it on display a couple moments ago. The long jumper missed by Jacobus. Score remains 14-8 in favor of the Eagles. They've had tremendous success of late over Edina, but just because they end up winning, as that shot rolls around and spills out, Burley draws the foul and will go to the free throw line. They are closely contested games. The earlier final this year, Eden Prairie defeated Edina 83-77. Last year we covered a game where the Eagles won 76-71, just to, again, kind of give you an insight to what the final results tend to be. So figure this one will go down to the wire as well, as Burley misses on the free throw. Team now 0 for 3.
Yeah, boy, this is going to be a story here if Edina can't hit their free throws, but they fortunately are able to grab a rebound. Of course, in the close games that these teams have had over the years, you wonder if these missed free throws could hurt them potentially down the stretch. 0 for 4 from the free throw line for the Hornets.
Something to consider. Ben Boone spots up from outside and makes it good. So there, great effort by Boone on the offensive rebound following the second missed free throw. It leads to a triple. Jacobus works his way near us. Choulette now inside Lanasa, spinning. Gets the ball away, had some trouble fielding it initially, and comes up short on the put up through the paint. Burley, Boone, McGrory. Burley trying to fight for position. He's got a size advantage on Cashman. We'll see if Edina works that way. Instead of backdoor cut, McGrory loses Jacobus and makes it easy for 2. Now a 13-14 game, a 5-0 run by Edina over the last 30 seconds. Lanasa dishes it. Rudrud spot up 3, in and out. Cashman fighting for the rebound. May only be 6'1" and a guard, but he's fighting down low like a center. Again, can't stress enough his versatility in football. He was a cornerback and then had some injuries to the linebacker position, so he went up and kind of upgraded size and started playing that position with some success as well. This is on the free throw.
Hey, Kevin, I have some emails in our inbox. Better not say anything mean about Coach Flum tonight, Kevo, as we have the aunt of Coach Flum watching from Missouri. We'll be up for sectional, so no criticizing coaching strategy tonight.
Well, I don't think I'm as bright as Coach Flum is, for at least for basketball, right?
Yeah, and then I also have an email from Judy, who's watching, and I'll see if you can get a chance.
Gillette,
yes.
There we go.
For the pronunciation.
Thank you for that. I apologize.
And by the way, that was Sharon, who is Coach Flum's mom. Again, thanks for emailing us, everyone. We're at announcers@psbmn.com if you'd like to contact us here during the broadcast, or find that link below your game tracker screen.
Speaking of Gillette, he led that break and finds Cashman down low for a roll-in layup. Contacted with the foul, has a chance for a three-point play. Thanks for emailing us the pronunciation, because we got something different from the scorer's table.
Some shady characters down there, right?
Apparently.
Yeah, that's right.
Just passing the buck, too. Free throw converted. So Cashman, second highest point total. Gillette is the leader with 8. Those 2 threes helping his cause. Cashman right now with 6 points. Pressure applied by the Eagles. McGrory is contacted. Get a push on Gillette. That'll be his first personal foul. And team number 5, both teams, actually team number 3, is looking at the timeouts.
Well, a good position then from down the stretch and a half where they can maybe be a little bit more aggressive defensively to try to make some plays down the stretch. So often, at least in the high school games I broadcast, some of these games get so physical where you pick up your 8th team foul with like 9 minutes left, and it can really put you in a tough situation to be aggressive on the defensive end.
Yeah, both these teams doing a nice job being aggressive defensively and in space as well, but not committing those personal fouls. Again, a big key to, how they train, their endurance, as well as coaching, as both teams have good coaches. Missed down low, a couple tries for the Eagles. Now McGrory, pocket almost picked. Loose ball goes back to McGrory, and he drains the jumper. He's up to 10. Other way, running down the court, John Vermidal, the big man, able to convert as his defender Lynch caught trailing on the play, 20-15. Long jumper, no from McGrory, skying for the rebound, Gillette. Runs down the seam of the court, great distribution, and the conversion to Owen Chose. He's got 2 points, and a timeout is called by Joe Berger. Didn't like the way his team handled that break. And the Eagles on a nice little run up, 22-15. We'll come back from the EP Community Center after this.
Woohoo! This is the best dirt bath ever!
Larry, what's with all that racket?
I'm loving my new digs. This compost is amazing. Come on in, give it a try.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, you weren't kidding, Larry.
Time to make your neighbors green with envy.
Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
Quick timeout and welcome back to the EP Community Center. Gillette almost stealing that telegraphed pass. It was distributed by John Libby, a senior, 6'1", averages 4.6 points per game. He'll take the inbounds. Calling out the play from the backcourt. Picked up there by Blake Cashman. Gets it over to Boone, and Boone is hit by Cashman, trying to ride over the top of Ben Boone, and Boone wisely sees the defender flying in off his feet and just kind of lowers his shoulder to draw the foul. That'll be Cashman's first, team 4th. Boone off a screen takes a 3, kicks off back iron. Cashman clears for the Eagles. Long 3 is buried by Gillette. Don't forget to get the mail when you're outside from that far. 25-15, the Eagles on top.
Saw a quick look there at the replay, how deep he was. That was more than an NBA-style three-pointer. Quite the range that he certainly has. I'm going to give you one more look at the distance on that three-pointer. As Eden Prairie definitely shooting the ball well from beyond the arc.
Gillette, a big reason for that. He's got 3 3-pointers, and I believe he's taken, don't have the stats, but he's taken no more than 4. He might even be perfect 3 for 3 in this game.
Trying to think who was the three-point champion over the weekend in the NBA All-Star game. Might be giving him a run for his money. Yeah, Steph Curry.
It was funny, it came down between 2 teammates, Klay Thompson and Curry. That shot, no good from McGrory. Good read by Ben Boone, and the turnover blocked by Gillette, but they're going to say got body over the top. And free throws upcoming for Edina.
Oh, let's grab the rebound here. First, take a look at the hustle there by Edina just to get that rebound, and then, oh, it's tough to say if there was much contact there.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It looked like for sure over the top he didn't commit a foul, but maybe with that left hand was touching the back of the foul shooter now, Will Morton.
Here's one more look at it, Kevin. I have the bigger view. Yeah, it's still tough to say.
I'm not going to question the referees based on our viewpoint.
Yeah. We're amateurs anyway.
Or really at all. Free throw, this time converted. First make in 6 attempts from the line tonight for the Hornets. Breaks a long run by the Eagles. Was a 11-2 run up until that free throw. Jumper, no good from Chose, and the rebound taken by Jimmy Connell. McGrory races ahead. The Eagles back defensively to slow down the pace. Over to the outside, Morton. Top of the key. Now right side. Ben Boone distributes the basketball to McGrory. Takes a high pick. Staying right with the play is Owen Chose. Morton swings it. Now top of the key, Ben Boone. Rudrud almost intercepted that pass. Now McGrory working, going between the legs. Bounce pass, back to McGrory. Cross-court pass, mistimed and misread by his teammate Connell. And it's an Edina turnover, their 4th.
Just overall great defense there for Eden Prairie. If this were NBA or college, it would be very close to a shot clock violation, which of course we don't have here in high school. Yeah. But that definitely got the bench all fired up, just really not giving the Hornets any sort of room to work with.
Jacobus no-look pass. The shot goes down, and the foul. What a great distribution there from Jacobus.
And Edina's kind of in a dangerous situation here as Eden Prairie, if they can continue their run here at the end of the second half, could possibly put Edina out of striking distance. Very important sequence coming up. I think if you're Edina, if you can get this lead down to 6 or 7 points at halftime, you would be happy because Eden Prairie is certainly heating up on both sides.
Most
offense
definitely.
And defense.
Even if they could just establish a bit of a run closing out the half, I don't know that they need a point target. Because the momentum's all on the side of the Eden Prairie Eagles. It's 28-16, McGrory. Heavy pressure applied. Now gets off a three-pointer. Burley does. No good. He's not your man that typically shoots the three, but trying to extend his range on the Eagles. Had the open shot. Back the other way. The shot kisses off the glass. Beautiful play by Jake Rupert. And it's 30-16. Morton falls down, and they call him for a travel. Lost his footing. Didn't like the call, but great defense there by Colton Simmer. We've called his name a few times in this one. Been all over the floor. I remember, Mark Gasner. If Mark Gasner or his family or friends are watching, he's kind of that Mark Gasner, the hustle player and intangible guys that you want to have on your team. Pass broken up and stolen away. Ben Boone up ahead to McGrory. Contacted. Block called against Simmer. And McGrory will go to the free throw line.
And you would think this would be a good chance for Edina to try to get back in from the free throw line, but of course they've had their struggles from the charity strike where I believe they're
1 for
1
6.
for 6, yes. Of course, while we have a minute here, I'd like to remind you, if you want your games on the air here on PSB, you can always contact us. We can get your games in HD, whether it's one game or an entire season's worth. Doesn't matter the level, whether it's varsity basketball, varsity hockey, or even youth sports or college, we can get your games on air. Contact us right here at PSB Media, and we can definitely try to work something out with you.
Ben Boone long on the three, second time in this game. Following a back-end missed free throw, the Hornets able to get the offensive rebound. Rupert to Lanasa, back to Rupert. Rupert drives, Flips one up, spins it in, and he's got 4 points now off the bench. Offensive foul called on McGrory, flying down the lane out of control. Colton Simmer applauds his effort, as does the rest of the Eagles bench.
They've just been tenacious on the defensive end. The Edina Hornets just have no room to work with at all, as Eden Prairie's really got the Hornets in a funk here where they can just not break that pressure that Eden Prairie's putting on them. It's not really a full court style pressure, it's just made them very uncomfortable all game long.
Both teams defensively, at least throughout the course of this season, not among the best as far as points allowed, but as you can see, possession for possession, the Eagles especially will make you work. Giving up 64.3 points per game, but they've also faced off against the number one strength of schedule, and the fact that they're a top 3 basketball team in 4A just shows how well they've done against the best of the rest of the competition.
Speaking of some great competition, we'll stream Eden Prairie's game against Hopkins coming up on Friday night, which would potentially be for the Lake Conference Championship. That's going to be one heck of a slugfest. I know Eden Prairie certainly wants to get revenge in that game after kind of having a lopsided loss to the Royals up at the Lindbergh Activity Center. That'll be a good matchup on Friday. You can watch it right here on PSB Media. Eagles and Royals Friday night, 7 o'clock.
The way the Eagles are playing in this game, it seems like they're mentally readying themselves for the stretch run for that game, possibly the Lake Conference title, and into sections, and possibly making another run at state. Now, last year being shifted to Section 6 and 4A certainly hindered their chances, ended up losing the section final to those Hopkins Royals after 4 consecutive years in Section 2 of reaching the state tournament.
Yeah, when they were in Section 2, they didn't quite face the same competition as Section 6. 2's kind of been down for a few years now, although they do have some good squads this year like Jefferson and Shakopee, but yeah, the strength is nowhere near what it is in Section 6 even when you're talking about potential 4, 5, and 6 seeds like Armstrong, Minnetonka, Edina. Those are all very solid teams.
Colton Simmer dives for the loose ball, gets the timeout. And an offensive rebound, another possession for the Eagles on top by 14, 33-19 as you're watching PSB Media. Timeout. Eden Prairie inbounds it. Colton Simmer now at the top of the key, right on the left wing of the Hornet at center court. Live from the Edina, Community Center. Bounce pass inside. The shot will be blocked. John Vermedal tried to finish that one. Good closeout defense by the Hornets. Leads to a corner 3, and a big lift needed by the Hornets is provided by Captain Ben Boone.
Certainly got the crowd fired up. They kind of feel that this is a chance for Edina to get some momentum before halftime. If they can get a couple of stops and a couple of baskets, they're right back in this game.
Shows on the move, pulls up.
Oh,
beautiful touch there from just beyond the right elbow. Now not back defensively. Ben Boone takes advantage of a rare mental lapse by this Eden Prairie defense. Rudrud the other way will bank it up and in. Trying to sag down on the play was the defender, Libby. He was trying to draw the charge, but instead Referees said play on with the contact, and Rudrud had a clear path as a result. Technical foul also called on the Edina bench, complaining about the non-charge call.
Well, let's see if we can maybe grab that here on the replay, the non-charge. Yeah, we just lost the tail end of it. Yeah, it's tough to say in real time for us and for the referee. And these referees do an excellent job here in the Minnesota State High School League. It's easier to, be up in the stands to make those calls. It's tougher when you're down in close quarters like that to make a bang-bang kind of call.
Simmer able to convert the front end of 2 technical foul shots. It's a nice nod for David Flum to give Simmer those free throw opportunities. I don't, have the statistics, the free throw percentages in front of me, but presumably if they're all about the same, giving it to the guy who's been hustling all night long, and he converts them both.
Yeah, it kind of builds his confidence and the team's as well. Kind of sometimes pump your squad up when you get your hustle player on the score sheet. Kind of thinking back to the Miami Heat a few years ago, whenever the Birdman Chris Anderson would score a bucket, that team would get all fired up. It's the only example I can think of where you kind of get your hustle players to score and it fires up your whole team.
I think that's a pretty astute example. McGrory on the drive will be undercut, draws the foul by, this one's going to be committed by Blake Cashman. He's got 2 personals now. I think he's the only one on the Eagles with multiple personals.
Yeah, the team foul starting to pile up a little bit here. Edina with 10 now, Eden Prairie with 9, so both teams will be shooting free throws the rest of the way. And credit Edina a little bit here too. They've improved their free throws a little bit here down the stretch when they started missing, I think, their first 4 or 5 overall.
Well, I think it's because Walt McGrory's taken the lion's share over the last few minutes, and he's now 5 for 6 from the charity stripe, up to a game-high 15. We were talking about how deep both these teams are, and speaking to David Flum before the game, as Josh Lanasa, nice entry feed from Jacobus over the top. Lanasa for the easy 2. He's up to 4 points.
Yeah, and Edina's got to clamp down a little bit here defensively. Their offense has gotten going over the last few minutes, but they've given Eden Prairie way too many easy buckets, and that's prevented them from cutting down this lead.
And Max Lynch out of control, turns it over. Good defense by Lanasa. Then same can be said the other way as McGrory picks the pocket of Owen Cho's. Long jumper is hit by Morton. Big response for the Edina Hornets. Inside of a minute to play in the first half.
Now they got to clamp down here. Every time they've made a 3 or a layup that seems to turn momentum, Eden Prairie goes right down the other way with a big basket. They got to clamp down here defensively and create something.
Inadvertent trip, though, on that call, going against John Libby. And it will be a double bonus situation for Rudrud. 2 free throws upcoming at the charity stripe. Anyway, going back to that conversation with Flum, I was asking him what he was most happy with about this season, and he said the willingness to play whatever minutes I allocate to my players, because he's got 11 guys who, are very worthy of regular minutes, but he's got to teach them to put their egos aside, realize that 10 other guys, in the case of any individual on the team, are just as viable, and they've really bought into that system, and it's worked out brilliantly for them. 21-3 coming into tonight. It's their overall mark. 43-29 following 2 made free throws.
Edina here, you got to go a little bit quicker and maybe try for that 2-for-1. Obviously there's no shot clock, but at least get a bucket here before there's 10 or 15 seconds. You could put on some defensive pressure and try to create a turnover.
McGrory wants to take the final shot, it seems. He'll extend on the arm bar and draw the foul against Owen Chose, who's not quite sure how to defend that one.
That's a tough play, and at least Edina gets a chance to put some points on the board here with the clock stopped.
Chose and Flum talking to the sideline referee for an explanation of maybe how he can approach that defense moving forward. He's got a point.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive player's extending the arm. There's not much you can do. And if you're called for the foul, at least from that defender's standpoint, seems kind of backward. Both free throws converted, so now 7 of 8 from the charity stripe from McGrory. He's up, now it looks like, to 18 points in the game, or 17 points rather. Rudrud, long three, kicks short. Off the glass as well. It's halftime here from the Edina Community Center. The Eagles looking very strong through one half of play, 43-31, led by Nick Gillette's 10 points. We'll come back for our first half analysis and more. That's live on PSB Media right after this.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
I wish it was spring.
Hello, Carl.
Whoa! Who are you?
I'm the Mulch Store Genie.
Well, your entrance music makes you sound like an alien.
We Mulch Store Genies survive on grass and compost, not snow and ice.
If you're a genie, where's your lamp?
Mulch Store Genies live... Never mind you. Let's get to the point. You had a wish for me, Carl.
Yeah, I wished it would be spring.
Your wish is my command.
Sweet! This is much better. Wow, my lawn looks great too.
Indeed, Carl. That's the power of the Mulch Store genius.
Thanks.
Tell your friends of my mulching powers.
The Mulch Store, granting beautiful lawn and landscaping wishes since 2000. Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
I really loved this book. Me too. What was your favorite part? The beginning? The beginning was good. Did anyone actually read the book?
I really like this wine.
You don't need a book club to drink wine with friends. Great wine and globally inspired food at Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
Hey, look, it's the State Farm guy.
Yeah, and he's discount double checking.
Oh,
Hans and Franz?
Surprise.
Well, here's another surprise for you. Muzzle. Hear me now and believe me later. You pumped up our wallets with the discount double checking, so we want to repay the favor and pump you up.
Sorry, what?
Pull us, you flabby loser!
You'll thank us later.
That's right. Double check your diet.
Yeah. Roll your boat.
Gently down the loser stream.
That's what I'm talking about.
Doesn't this hurt?
Not with those puny arms.
You don't just lift dumbbells, you drink them. Now, come on.
That's right, Billy.
Hello, muscles.
The whole thing?
Yeah, when you're finished, you can eat this up too. Congratulations, Aaron.
You earned the suit. It's a start.
Yeah, not bad.
Really?
Pump up your savings with a discount double check.
Nice block, Aaron.
Get to a better state. State Farm.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbeer State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie. A local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbeer.com. Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing several PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie boys hockey on the big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food and watch the EP boys hockey team at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean pizza, the Tavern turkey burger, and my personal favorite, the cheesy tater tots. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5, located just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients. If someone you know is trying to grow their business, tell them to consider contacting production at psbmn.com. The internet is a powerful marketing tool, but due to its size, it can be difficult for messages to reach the right ears. Optimize their valuable time and money. PSB Video will help drive localized traffic to the client's website. Using keyword-driven content, PSB Video can improve where businesses appear in search results. Nearer to the top results means more clicks and more business. So please, tell those business owners you know to work smarter, not harder, by considering PSB Production. Find out more by emailing production@psbmn.com.
Halftime here from Edina Community Center. Kevin Ford, Brett Johnson, and on camera this evening, Krister Woodley. Proud to bring you coverage of Lake Conference boys basketball. The top three Eden Prairie Eagles, with a 21-3 record coming into this night, have played outstanding on both sides of the basketball and have the double figures lead at the break. The Eagles are led at the intermission by Nick Gillette, the junior, at 6'2". He averages just a shade under 6 points per game. But at halftime, courtesy of very cool shooting from all over the court, he's got 11 points and 3 3-pointers to lead the way for the Eagles. Blake Cashman, Brady Rudrud are second on the team in scoring with 6 apiece. But overall, it's been a very balanced effort for Eden Prairie. Apologize for the pause. I was looking at how many different Eagles had scored.
You were trying to cue me in awkwardly.
No, I wasn't awkwardly cueing. 9 different Eagles have scored.
Feel the chemistry.
So, again, showing off their dynamic ability. Again, efforts from all over the courts. Seen 10 different players see court time, and 9 of them have scored. Looking over at Edina, it's been a one-trick pony. In a sense, Walt McGrory leading the way. He's been very strong, 17 points, able to get to the free throw line consistently as well and kind of rub right the Edina efforts from the charity stripe. They started 1 for 6. He hadn't yet attempted one. And since then, the Edina Hornets 7 for 8, all of them coming from the sophomore. Ben Boone has been good. He's taken quite a few shots, though I wouldn't say he's been efficient in scoring his 8 points. Hasn't been inefficient either, but hasn't also gotten to the free throw line, settling for those long jumpers. He's second on the team with 8. Will Morton has 6, and no one else has scored. Edina has committed approximately, this is my rough estimate, 7 turnovers. Eden Prairie just 4 in that first half, taking care of the basketball, playing strong defense, and scoring at an efficient clip on offense. And when you're doing all those things very well, you're probably going to be leading your opponent, and we're seeing that on the scoreboard tonight, 43-31. Brett, I'll bring you in now if you've got any comments.
See, this is our chemistry we have right now.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go, yeah. Well, overall, I think It was a close game early on, but Eden Prairie just kind of upped their intensity at about the 10-minute mark and just ended up pulling away. They got hot offensively and really kind of got this Edina team in a funk on the other end. Hornets really kind of struggle offensively, and they got to find a way to, make some more buckets. And I guess what I'm trying to say, when they make those big baskets, it seems like they just give up an easy transition opportunity to Eden Prairie. And they just got to find a way to clean a lot of things up, as Eden Prairie definitely is looking like they're on their way towards playing for that Lake Conference Championship on Friday.
Yeah, Eden Prairie's been very efficient. Maybe it's been kind of a mental grind for Edina, perhaps, so that they work so hard to get that big play on offense that it's difficult to maintain that level of intensity coming back defensively. It'll be interesting to see how Edina handles this Eden Prairie pressure D. And we'll start with the basketball to begin this second half. Live from the Edina Community Center. Morton over on the far side from the right wing. Steps baseline, pulls up, fades away, comes up long on the jumper. Jacobus outletted up. Passed up to Chose, now finds the basketball inside to Lanasa. Dangerous pass, works its way over to Chose, and he drains the right-hand baseline jumper. He's up to 6 for the game. And the lead is up to 14, tying the biggest lead of the night for the Eagles. McGrory kicks off right heel. Rebound. Jacobus pushing the basketball. Chose Lanasa back outside. Jacobus steps up on the flyby, long with the runner, and the rebound taken by Burley.
Still a great move there by Jacobus to fool two Edina defenders. Just couldn't quite finish it off.
Exactly. Ended up breaking the top of that 2-3 zone with a great move. That's the way sometimes you can break that pressure D. Applied by those extended twos in the 2-3 scheme.
Reminder, we're on Twitter at PSBMN. Like the latest on Southwest Metro Sports, you can always follow us on Twitter, especially as we end up tweeting here coming up during the section playoffs and state tournament, as Eden Prairie and Edina with their basketball, hockey, and a lot of other sports poised to make some deep runs.
While you were talking about Lake Conference play, Josh Lanasa ended up with a block shot. So Edina re-entered the basketball baseline. They have it. Working left wing toward top of the key. Morton loses the handle. Now drives, rejected by Gillette. Now in transition, Gillette works middle, kicks it back. Cashman back to Gillette. He'll spot up three-pointer. This time comes up short. Hustling Chose. Can he save it? No. Out of bounds to the Hornets. You got that replay of Gillette's block shot by chance?
Yeah, I was actually just showing it on the fly. Let's see if I can pull it up again for you if you'd like to take a look at that.
What a great shot block. Now the Hornets back to live action with it. Morton to Burley. Ben Boone with it. Pass over McGrory. Picked up by Cashman. Works around the 2-3 zone. Eagles, you notice, don't play as extended on the zone as the Hornets do, but that's because the Eagles have been making three-pointers, the Hornets have not, so there's the difference in strategy. And clamping down those 2-3s inside the arc allows less space with which the Hornets can work. So if they can start hitting outside shots, they maybe can start breaking down this zone defense as Lanasa kicks it off the glass for two. He's got 4 points, and the Eagles now lead by 16. McGrory, no, the follow, good effort, but unable to convert Jack Dienst. And the rebound taken by the Eagles. Outside shot, Jacobus, short offensive rebound. Resets to Chose. Inside, pass broken up. Ben Boone takes it back the other way, 2-on-2. Leaves it behind for Morton. Takes a long jumper and he converts the three. Good read by Ben Boone. And 1-2 punch as Morton now in double figures with 11, traveling called on the Eagles.
Edina's kind of just hanging around. They've barely kept this game within striking distance, but as you said, Kevin, they did hit that last 3, but still need to convert on more of their jump shots to try to break through on this Eden Prairie defense.
Well, that's the first bucket they've made of the second half, and here we are 3 minutes, 8 seconds and counting in, so they'll probably want to be a little bit more efficient than scoring just 3 points or 1 point per minute. Great feed, Burley to Boone. That's about as easy as they get.
Yeah, what a find there, as you'll see on the replay, on the side-by-side replay. Great vision to get it towards that baseline. An easy bucket for Edina. They need a lot more of those.
Great ball fake. Carter Coughlin totally vaporized the defense there. Gets hacked across the arms on the put-up. Look at that. Just swings it. And we'll go to the charity stripe.
That is a move. See some great passes and some great moves here over the past few minutes by both teams.
Coughlin short on the free throw. Stuck on 3 points, now 1 for 2 from the charity stripe. The junior linebacker on the football team had 8 sacks during the football season, which led the way. And outstanding play from that middle linebacker position.
Tell you what, Kevin, that hoop on the right side might be shrinking on free throws. Both teams have struggled shooting free throws on that right hoop, at least on the side of your computer screen to the right.
Yeah, nice observation. Maybe it's not the same standard dimension.
Well, it's just on free throws. They've had no trouble scoring on
That's true.
regular situations.
Just when they have give-me's, they can't make them. Burley tries a 3, too strong.
That one, well, we'll have to look back and see if that one was maybe the shot that could have gotten Edina back in this game. But they do get an important block there in that situation. Still with Eden Prairie up 47-36 here on Edina.
That is the exact score. Timeout taken by Edina. We'll take a quick break as well as you're watching PSB Media.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4.
Back to live action. Thanks so much for tuning in this evening. Ball fake, Gillette thought about the 3 inside Coughlin. Stutters, steps, and ball's knocked out of bounds by Burley. Coughlin initially got good positioning inside and had a size disadvantage, couldn't get the ball above his shoulders, and was poked out. 13:37 to play, second half. It's been a evenly played second half until that 3-point jumper made by Chose. But if you look at the scoreboard, the Eagles with a healthy advantage courtesy of a strong first half. 50-36, matching the biggest lead of the night. Morton able to finish at the rack over the top of Carter Coughlin's contest.
Ooh, someone might be on a fathead if they had those in high schools. We'll go full screen here on the replay. Take a look at the slam right over Carter Coughlin. Don't often see players get the better of him, but that was a heck of an effort there by the Edina Hornets.
Rudroot inside, makes it over the top of the guy who dunked on his teammate, and we'll go to the free throw line.
Well, a lot of highlight reel plays here over the last few minutes as you get a look at that hand-to-one situation there for Eden Prairie.
Seems like every time, as you've said throughout this broadcast, Brett, that Edina does something good, Eden Prairie's like, well, we can do that too. And then they go down on the other end and make a big play.
There's just been so many situations where it feels like, oh, Edina's ready to get back in this one, and then Eden Prairie just kind of clamps their foot down and says, no, we're keeping this lead.
Got a whistle. Call away from the basketball.
And that's very key for Eden Prairie, because when they play a team like Hopkins coming up on Friday, it's important to maintain their momentum if they do get some against a very tough Royals team, because obviously Hopkins can turn things around on a dime with the talent they have.
They certainly can. They can score a whole bunch of points as well. We were talking about Eden Prairie, at least points allowed per game this season, kind of in the middle of the pack, so you think, well, on paper not that strong defensively, but they've played teams like Hopkins and very high scoring opposition throughout the course of this season, so that inflates their defensive numbers a bit.
And of course, we'll again stream that Hopkins-Eden Prairie game on Friday night right here on PSB Media.
Beautiful body control fadeaway buried by Ben Boone. He's got 12 now for the Hornets. Gillette, good closeout by Max Lynch. Distributes the basketball over to Rupert. Out to Colton Simmer. This is the second unit, along with Blake Cashman, the lone starter. Check that, Gillette's on the court as well. So 2 starters, 3 reserves on the court for the Eagles. As losing the basketball, Coughlin. Lynch finishes high over the top. Good contest by Simmer, but just a little late in closing out. Lynch has his first 2 points of the game.
And again, it feels like this situation again where Edina's ready to get back into it. Let's see if Eden Prairie hits another big bucket in response, or if Edina can finally clap down on defense and climb back into it.
Simmer to Coughlin. Nice move, Coughlin. Works inside, fades it away. Probably could have gone up strong. Instead, made his degree of difficulty that much harder. Can't get the roll. And the rebound taken by the Hornets. Underneath, Lynch! Left all alone. Coughlin missed his assignment. And Lynch's back-to-back hoops. It's a single-digit deficit, 9 points.
And it's been a while since Edina has been in single digits, as you see on the replay on the left screen there. That very good find there by Edina.
Great look from Gillette. This time, though, can't convert. Edina pushing the pace underneath. Lynch, pressure, fouled, and will go to the free throw line. Again, a huge mismatch. Carter Coughlin, 6'3", Lynch, 6'6", 6'7", with a long wingspan.
And they're lucky there that Lynch, as you see on the replay, didn't catch that pass cleanly, because that would have been an easy 2 for him.
At the free throw line, 0 for 2, now make it 0 for 3. So in some ways, maybe Eden Prairie happy with the foul as opposed to the layup.
That's what I was saying, very, very big break there for Eden Prairie, that he dropped that pass for just a split second to at least allow the Eagles to set up themselves to commit the foul.
Both free throws missed. Cashman on the rebound. Still a 9-point differential. 11 minutes and change left in the ball game.
And even if they make 4 or 5 of those missed free throws, not necessarily all of them, they're right back in this thing. It's just a charity strike, been a big struggle here for these Edina Hornets.
8 missed free throws in the game against 8 makes, so 8 for 16 as Cashman finishes over the top of the shot blocker Lynch. What a play. 55-44. McGrory. Lynch will work against Lanasa. Can't get it off the right angle. Banking it off the glass. And the Eagles take it. Charge called against Rudrud. Both players seem to be out of control, so can't really say I personally had a problem with that one. As Rudrud's got to allow space to Libby to defend that one. He kind of crumpled under it.
I kind of have to agree with you there, though. Both players were kind of out of control. I have another email from Sharon, Coach David Flum's mom. If Coach David Flum were to get the win tonight, that would be win number 200 for his career.
Oh, awesome.
That's actually info from his mom. Sharon didn't want to take credit for that.
We appreciate that. You're a journalist at heart, or maybe you are as a profession. Not taking credit for things you didn't come up with yourself. A nice shot there by Lanasa. finding Blake Cashman for an easy 2. So Cashman now in double figures with 10, right around his season average. I didn't know that stat about David Flum. Appreciate it being passed along. I do know that every year he's coached, the team has had at least 18 wins. Big credit to their success. Lob feed inside. Cashman goes up strong. No offensive rebound, and he follows it up. As Max Lynch just crumbled. I thought he was a shot blocker. Didn't want to go against the fierce Badger, Blake Cashman.
I hear you say the fierce Badger?
Yeah, he acted like a Badger. Smaller than Max Lynch, but he's not backing down. 59-46.
Thinking you were maybe making a reference to the very good Wisconsin basketball team.
No, I wasn't, but it could be a double entendre in some ways. Max Lynch able to convert. We'll see if he can hit from the charity stripe.
Yeah, good job by Lynch to set himself up for that play, setting that screen, then getting the ball back immediately, as you say there on the replay. Little finger roll there at the end, and as he said, he's got to make these free throws. Well, he's only going to be taking one in this situation, but that's part of his game where he's got to improve to take his abilities to the next level.
Averages 14 per game coming off the Hornets bench. This one converted. So 1 for 5 from the charity stripe and a big hit there. So it's back to a 10-point deficit. Deans checks back in for the Hornets. Also seeing some playing time from Anders Nelson. He got a lot of minutes on the JV game. A victory for Eden Prairie as Cho is able to turn around and make it over Nelson.
What a pretty little play there by Chose to make it another big bucket there for Eden Prairie as Edina try to climb back into this one. Now down by just 12.
Libby to Dienst. Wide open 3 for a guy who's good at him. And Morton converts. Great back screen by Anders Nelson to free Morton. And he's now up to 15 points.
Well, we have a moment here. I'd like to thank some of our sponsors for providing coverage of tonight's game, including the Mulch Store, who has some of the best compost you'll find in the Midwest. Start making those springtime plans. Consider the Mulch Store for all your landscaping needs online, mulchstoremn.com. They deliver and also have locations all over the metro. Also like to thank Athlete PT. Dr. Grant Norland can work with you whether you're a pro-style athlete or maybe just a beginner or anywhere in between. He can get you performing on the field or on the ice, no matter the sport. That's Athlete PT. They're located in the Golden Triangle here on the Eden Prairie Edina border. AthletePTOnline.com.
Inbounds to Rudrud, skies it over the rim, misses everything. And McGrory finds it to Ben Boone, trailing by just 9. McGrory's been quiet this second half, trying to get going, puts it up short. Dienst on the follow, and it's a 7-point differential. It's a nice little push of the pace by Edina, getting some stops defensively. Pull-up jumper, and just as I say that, Gillette has the answer. His first bucket of the second half is a good one to quiet this Edina crowd.
It had been a while since Eden Prairie had gone to him after he made those 3 first half 3-pointers and was just on fire to start this game. A little quieter here in the second half, but that big jumper maybe can slow down the Edina momentum.
Dienst inside, not afraid of the contact, and will go to the free throw line.
On PSB in HD. Contact us. We'd love to discuss doing that for you. Just go to psbmn.com and the contact us page and feel free to contact Kevin or I.
Sounds good. I'll look forward to those emails. Jack Dienst, back end, converts it. So Dienst 2 for 2 at the line, 4 straight points for the Hornets. Just back to a 7-point differential with 7 minutes left. For the Hornets, kind of have to like where you're at, given the game situation, battling back from what was a 15-point deficit as recent as the 9-minute mark. Gillette looking inside for Simmer. Thought Simmer was going to go up top, instead sunk down low. Miscommunication there and a turnover by the Eagles.
As you see there on the replay, now it's Edina turning up their defensive intensity, not giving Eden Prairie any sort of room to find some open looks. Good defense there by the Hornets, something they've really brought a little bit more here over the last few minutes as compared to the first half when they kind of went on their mini runs. It seemed like they always gave up a big bucket to Eden Prairie.
Feel like maybe a difference maker on the court is that JV varsity tweener, Anders Nelson. Since he's been on the court, Edina has really done a good job distributing the basketball and scoring inside, so maybe having that extra ball handler on the court along with McGrory helping the Hornets' cause. Dienst to Boone, long jumper is good from the right side. A long two makes it a 5-point difference.
Now the crowd really starting to get into it here for Edina. We'll see if Eden Prairie can again have one of their big responses that they've had so many times tonight.
Rupert draws the foul. Dienst and Hornets fans hoping for the charge. Instead, number 43 goes to the charity stripe where he's 1 of 2 tonight.
Yeah, that was close as you see on the replay, but it didn't look like he quite had his feet set.
He wasn't quite in the position out in front. It was a good call on the block. Rupert hits the front end. Max Lynch replaces Dienst on the court. Blake Cashman set to check back in. Rupert spins the basketball in his hands, dribbles 3 times. From the right side, puts it up, and converts the second one as well. Big free throws made by Rupert, who immediately checks out. Replaced by Cashman. So it's Cashman, Chase, Simmer, Gillette, and Coughlin out on the court, going with a bit of a smaller lineup. 3 guards and 2 forwards. Matching up against Lynch, Anders Nelson, Libby, McGrory, and Ben Boone. Nelson tries a jumper and converts a nice crossover to create the separation, and he hits it from the far right side. Hornets have been pretty accurate from the right baseline, it seems, all game long. Now some pressure defense, able to get the pass away to Gillette. He's double teamed. Top of the key to Chose. Anders Nelson saying, come on, see what you got. He's ready for the challenge. Pass off to Coughlin, gets the feet away, makes a move, can't finish, fights for the rebound, falls to the court, and it's taken by McGrory. Outlets it up ahead to Boone, back to Libby. They play catch. Libby tries the outside jumper. Back iron miss, and it's rebounded by Chose.
Well, a couple of near misses after we saw Eden Prairie just make a great move to the hoop. Then on the other way, Edina misses a 3-pointer, which would have blew the roof off this place.
Gillette to Chose, open look.
Little strong.
Ends up trying to put too much touch on it, and it bounces off the front of the rim. Libby. Corner jumper, McGrory. Everyone really ready to celebrate that one, but chases down his own miss.
It's just been amazing here over the last 6 minutes to see how much quicker Edina is moving their feet. It's like they have a whole new intensity that they've picked up since about the 10-minute mark.
It's like one of those dimming light switches where they turn it full blast now. No longer want to have the mood lighting here at the Edina Community Center. Anders Nelson feeds it to Lynch. Over far side, McGrory. Great job defensively in this one by Chose. This time, though, he loses Chose, and McGrory with the floater over the top of the Eden Prairie defense. His first points of the second half, and it's the closest deficit and closest the Hornets have been since the early going. 65-62, Eden Prairie inside of 4.5 to play. A timeout taken on the court. Will use it as well. Close one now in the second half. Great rally by the Edina Hornets, who had 1 point trailed, 51-36. Doing quick math on that, they've gone on a 26-14 run to close it to 3. There's Lynch stepping up to block a shot. Anders Nelson, good job by Rudrud getting back defensively. Prevents a break. McGrory's feed inside, knocked away, they say, by Lanasa. And it'll remain Hornet basketball. The intensity definitely picking up in this late conference tilt. The Hornets have no chance of winning the late conference, but can play spoilers. Boom! From the long jumper from the right side. Hits it. They say it's a 3. And it's a tie ball game. Down low, Rupert responds at the other end. Eagles back on top by 2.
Apologize here just a second. Lost our video feed. We'll work on getting that. Let Kevin take you some audio only play-by-play.
Inside, Max Lynch, the reverse layup, spins it up and in, add position on Lanasa, and it's 67 all. 3:12 to play in the ball game. Blake Cashman top of the key where he's picked up by McGrory. Still playing that 2-3 defense. Inside, Lanasa will be hand-checked. Looks like by Max Lynch. That'll be personal foul number 1 on the senior post. Inbound from the baseline. Nelson finally checks out. I swear, if you're looking at plus minus in this game, as soon as Anders Nelson entered the court, Edina went on that run, so we'll see how Eden Prairie handles it. Blocked again. Max Lynch rejects Lanasa, going up a little too soft against the post. He's got back-to-back blocks, and he's worked himself into this basketball game with a strong second half effort.
Yeah, Papa, get the grill. It's a block party for Edina's defense.
Sounds good. I want some grilled food. I'm getting hungry. Stripped away. McGrory turns it over. Rudrud tracks it down in front of us. Finds it over to Chose. Gillette back to Chose. Top of the key, Rudrud. 2.5 to play. Tie game. Seems like every single matchup between these two teams comes down to the wire. And here it'll be a turnover. Will they say McGrory touched it? Yes, they do. He can't believe it. And it'll remain Eden Prairie basketball. The inbound goes to Lanasa. No look pass inside. Cashman finishes over the top of Burley. Blake Cashman so good at using that muscular frame to create some separation. He's had some easy finishes with the left hand in this second half. Up to 14 points. McGrory working with the basketball. Timeout called by Joe Berger. And we'll use the opportunity to take a break as well. Eden Prairie has been in a lot of close games this season. They've fared well. We'll see how they finish. Up 2 from Edina. You're watching PSB.
I am never getting married. Never. Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
A little bit here.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie. A local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com.
This is the best dirt bath ever!
Larry, what's with all that racket?
I'm loving my new digs. This compost is amazing. Come on in, give it a try.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, you weren't kidding, Larry. This stuff is great.
The Mulch Store has compost your garden, and yes, even the worms will love. Stop by any of the Mulch Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee to pick up the best compost in the Midwest. Online at mulchstoremn.com. Also shop rocks, seed, soil, edging, and more. Now's the time to make your neighbors green with envy.
Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
never getting married. Never. Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
Pillow of the ear.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com. Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com.
Thanks for tuning in to live, local, play-by-play coverage of tonight's game. Catch all the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports, PSB Media. Tonight's game was brought to you by The Malt Store, Umbria Gourmet Pizzeria, Athlete PT, Noodles & Company of Eden Prairie, The Sun Current, The Tavern on 4 and 5, and in partnership with Minnesota Football Magazine, The Pioneer Press, and BEC TV. You can find an archived broadcast of tonight's game available 24/7 on psbmn.com.